All right, guys, today we're talking about converting measurement. And we're going to learn a couple rules as we go. This should be a pretty easy standard now that we have gotten through our decimals and our fractions and multiplication and division. So let's look at the first problem here. The first problem says, hey, Mathline, I'm writing an article for the school newspaper about field day. At our school, the record for the vertical jump is 23 inches. I know that on field day, Teresa jumped 2 feet 3 inches. How can I figure out if she broke the record? Well, Teresa's jump is shown in feet, but the record is in inches. You'll need to convert Teresa's jump to inches so you can compare the two jumps. There are 12 inches in 1 foot. So how many inches are in 2 feet 3 inches? So if I look over here, it says to convert 2 feet 3 inches, we are going to need to convert a larger unit, which is foot, to a smaller unit, which is inches. So even though the numbers here, the leading digits, 1 and 12, don't match what I just said, 1 foot is a larger unit of measurement than inches. So to convert from a larger unit, which is foot, to a smaller unit, which is inches, we're going to use multiplication. So I'm going to start by using what Mathline told me here. There are 12 inches in 1 foot, and I need to figure out how many inches are in 2 feet. So I'm going to use multiplication to multiply 2 times 12. But then I can't forget the 3 inches that were already included. So now my expression says 2 times 12 plus 3. I can use the order of operations to solve, starting with multiplication. 2 times 12 is 24, plus 3. So my last step then is to combine those two values. So now let's compare the record to Teresa's jump. So the record was 23 inches, and Teresa's jump was 27 inches. So Teresa beat the school record by 4 inches. The next problem gets a little more difficult. This says Bella needs 15 quarts of paint for 1 wall in her cellar. She has 2 1/4 gallons left over from painting other walls. She has another 5 quarts that her neighbor gave her. Is that enough paint? So we have our conversion chart over here, which will be provided to you on your EOG, so you won't have to learn or memorize these measurements, but you will need to know how to convert them. So this says 1 gallon equals or is the same as 4 quarts. To convert a larger unit to a smaller unit, we're going to use multiplication. So first we're going to ask ourselves, how much paint does Bella have? We need to convert 2 1/4 gallons to quarts, then add another 5 quarts. So if I was drawing an illustration or a model to solve this problem, I could draw my quarts or my gallons and break them up into quarts. I know that there's 4 quarts in each gallon. So if I was going to solve 2 1/4 gallons, then I would need to shade 4 quarts, and then 1 out of 4 quarts here. So if we counted those all up, we get 9 quarts here. Again, order of operations to solve this problem says that I can say 2 times 4, because 2 times 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. So if we had 2 gallons and we have 2 times 4 quarts, plus 1 more quart here, plus the 5 quarts, don't forget that one, that the neighbor gave her. So next we'd start with multiplication over here. We'd get rid of that operation. 2 times 4 is 8. Bring down our 1, bring down our 5, because we haven't done that yet. And then I can add them all together. 8 plus 1 plus 5 is 14. So Bella needs 15 quarts, but she only has 14 quarts. She does not have enough paint to paint the cellar. And the last problem, I shouldn't say the last problem that's done for you. We're going to do some together in just a minute. It says, did you notice that when you converted larger units of measure to smaller units of measure, you multiply? So that means if we're converting smaller units to larger units, we must be using the inverse, or dividing. So this will be really handy for you here. Write it down in your notebook. When we're converting larger to smaller, we multiply, and smaller to larger, we divide. So let's take a look at kilograms. How many grams are in 6 kilograms? So if I look over here, grams is the smaller unit. Kilograms is the larger unit. So when we're going from smaller to larger, we're going to use division. But in this case, we can use, because they're inverse, we can easily use multiplication to get the same answer. So I know that in 1 kilogram, there's 1,000 grams. So to figure out how many grams are in 6 kilograms, then I can say 6 times 1,000 is 6,000. So there's 6,000 grams in 6 kilograms. Let's see that in action on the next slide. All right, so this is going centimeters to meters. It says how many meters are equivalent to 175 centimeters? We can use our power of 10 strategy from when we did place value and decimals, and we can also use a table to figure this out. We'll get more practice with this table on your Wiser Me. So it says there's in 1 meter, we're trying to figure out 175 centimeters. So I know that there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So if I needed to figure out 150 centimeters, then that would be the same as 1 5/10. Well, how did I know that? It said that we can use the power, I mentioned the power of 10 strategy. And if you remember the power of 10 strategy, that says, if I'm looking at this number 100, these zeros signal place value. So this would be like saying divided by 100. So that means that I would be bringing my decimal in, because there's 2 zeros, 2 places. So that's how we say there's 1 meter and 100 centimeters. Okay, so if we did the same for 150, it would look just like that. But what about 100? Let me go back up here a little bit. 175. Well, we already determined that we're bringing the decimal in 2 places, but let's see it in action here. 175, we're going to bring that decimal point in 2 places. So there are 1 and, oops, that should be meters. How many meters are equivalent to 1? There we go. 175 centimeters. It would be 1 75 hundredths meters. Okay, I continued to fill in this table below as an example. We did the same thing. We moved our decimal point in 2 places for 200. So 2 meters is equivalent to 200 centimeters, and 2 7/10 meters for 270 centimeters. 3 meters, oops, I need to add some zeros there. Looks like I stopped a little short. I was working the wrong way here. Okay, so this would be, here we go. Got a little ahead of myself while I was making this chart, I guess. Let me get rid of that. All right, so everything should be correct now. 3 meters, 300 centimeters, 3 2/10 meters, 320 meters, 4 400, and 4 8/10 for 480. It's pretty easy to organize that information when we're using a table. Okay, so let's get to our last example here. This is converting hours and days. Okay, we're going to do this in class together. I will come back and add an additional video after this because we're going to work on this together. But I will come back and add what we did together when this is over. So if you're at home, make sure that you come back and check on this video later if you don't make it to live class at 10:05. See you then.